I'm at the UKIP Spring Conference here in Llandud now. Stepped outside for a bit of fresh air because, you know, these conferences, it gets very stale. And Margot Parker has done just the same thing. You're member of the European Parliament for the East Midlands. Now, you obviously spend a lot of time out in Brussels. How are things, the gossip there and so on about David Cameron's pledge? What's working on?
I think the interesting point it came when the Prime Minister said that this is absolutely, has the word of the Commission and the Parliament, it's a done deal. Well, we know, of course, it isn't a done deal. And we know that, of course, this can be challenged in the European Court of Justice. So it's by no means a done deal. I'm sure it was attractive for him to say that. But, of course, it's spin. And I think, you know, the men and women of this country that are looking forward to this Brexit vote, waiting for 40 years, many, and those that haven't will look forward to participating in something which is very historic and very important. So I think from that angle, they don't take lightly to false promises which cannot be kept. So I'm afraid he's looking a little shallow, and I think people are taking that message and they're saying, well, we don't trust you. What a shame that a British Prime Minister has to actually stoop to a level like that. I feel it's a shame.
Well, it is, because, you know, if you look back to the Bloomberg speech famously about 3 years ago, and some things that David Cameron was saying before the general election, he was talking about some really serious reforms that he was after, and yet as soon as the general election was over and he went out to Brussels to start talking about all his intentions just seemed to vanish. And, you know, there's no return of the fishes policy, no return of tax policy, all sorts of things that he could have changed, could have got more of a rebate. Margaret Thatcher famously got a rebate. All those sorts of things immediately dropped off the agenda. We were left with, a bunch of small changes that really are just tinkering around the edges. And as you say, even that's not legally watertight.
Not at all. I mean, it is insignificant. Even the French President and I believe the German Chancellor, there's no treaty change. There's nothing there on offer at all. And quite frankly, most of the people I'm speaking to, they say to me, well, they must want our huge contribution. The money must be absolutely critically important to them. So, you know, British taxpayers, they know very well that we can use that money much more sensibly and safely for the benefit of our own people in this country. And we can make our own only if we leave the European Union.
Well, so, indeed. I mean, I saw what I thought was an absolutely amazing statistic. There's been all this talk about austerity in this country and cuts to government spending, and we've been told that's because they've got to reduce government debt and reduce government borrowing. In fact, all the austerity, all the savings the government has made is just being paid straight to Brussels. And if we weren't a member of the European Union, we wouldn't have needed any austerity because we'd have had the money instead of sending it overseas.
Not at all. I must make this quote because it's one of Margaret Thatcher's great quotes, which I love. She said, you know, socialism is great until you run out of other people's money. And of course, it's true.
Yes.
You know, so the taxpayers of this country will never ever be able to give enough money to the insatiable financial appetite of the European Union. You can never give them enough money because these guys can spend it quicker than you can even think about the ways they want to spend it. They'll dream it up.
Oh yeah, and of course their accounts haven't been signed off by the auditors for 18 years?
I think it might be 21. Actually.
21?
Okay,
I'm out of date.
I think it might be 21. It's embarrassing, isn't it? But we still get fined, of course, for not adhering to certain things, which just seem to be kind of ludicrous. So it's got a very odd balance going on here. And I think people are learning things for the first time ever.
Indeed. Anyway, listen, it's very good of you to spare the time. There's a couple of people who want to talk to you, and the activists always come first. So thank you for taking the time.
Thank you.
We'd better get back to the conference here.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.